I'm back again. Thank you so much for staying for this panel. So the natural progression to it is like we talked about AI and the technical components of it, and now we want to talk about how businesses can utilize AI to improve their business. And I want to start with quick introductions from here. Okay. Tell me a bit more about yourself.
So my name is Janit. I have a background in economics applied to maths. I used to work at TradFi before joining crypto. In crypto, I work with mainly exchanges such as Crypto.com Capital. After that, I went to Kronos Accelerator program where I had the opportunity to focus on pre-seed and seed stage projects. Currently, I'm leading I'm the head of incubation for Trarim, which is a market maker. Our goal is to incubate pre-seed and seed stage projects, take them to market, and being a market maker would make sense for us.
Dennis.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Dennis. I'm CPO at Hacken. I'm handling the R&D part. We are creating the cutting-edge software to automate security, to make security better, and to protect Web3 ecosystem.
And Mina.
And hi, everyone. My name is Mina. I am head of BD and partnership at Token.com. I've been in the crypto space since 2017. Some would say OG, but I actually hate the word, you know. I could be original gangster because something else I've done in my life. So yeah, I'm all up to, Web3 and AI innovation, absolutely in it.
And Mina, I would love to start with you. So can you tell me a bit about the main considerations that any business should have and the main things that they should keep in mind before they implement an AI model? And I'm talking about the thought process before they do it and deciding whether they actually need one, because I'm sure that it probably doesn't make much sense for a lot of businesses to implement AI within their within their business structure. But yeah, tell me more about it and how should businesses think about it?
Well, I would say any kind of businesses, small or big, start small implementations. So first check if you really need it, although I think it's really helpful for the data from operational side, from any kind of administrative things, absolutely it should be integrated. For the overall bigger business model, it really needs to be, strategically thought through. That's why I would always suggest to start small, whatever you do.
Nice. And Dennis, could you elaborate on the factors that they should consider?
I want to give an example of our product inside because we actually postponed implementing the AI inside. We are creating software that are analyzing anomalies, protecting customers, and the logic was not to put an effort on AI from the beginning, but to find some base, and on that base to get this power of optimization, improvement, and so on. So from my perspective, I believe that you definitely need to use AI. There is no questions about it. But at what level and how exactly you're going to benefit right now from it, not in 5, 10 years of a bright future.
And Jenny, could you please tell me a bit more about practical examples of how companies are using AI to improve their processes?
For sure, yeah. Coming from the way that I think is okay, can companies using AI to improve the user experience? For example, in Web3, I do feel like we could onboard more users, especially from Web2, if we have a better user experience. Let's think about AI agents, right? So, for example, let's say that you have a DeFi project. You want to increase your APR. So you could use AI agent to probably go and find the best APR, considering the risks. And for a normal user, for one click, you could have that. Currently working with a project called Contracts that is trying to do that. And I think just doing that helps the user have a better experience.
Nice. And Dennis, I have a question for you, which is essentially a lot of companies, I guess one of the reasons that you postpone implementing AI is because of the privacy consideration. And earlier on, people even mentioned that Samsung fired a few of their employees because they use ChatGPT, and it's not considered private enough, so the company is essentially sharing proprietary information with the language model. So could you tell me a bit more about when should companies use ChatGPT? Should they start building their own chatbots? What do you think is the best approach to that?
From my perspective, everyone needs to start using something like ChatGPT like yesterday. It's not a question about trying to connect with AI and use its power to be more productive. It's about how exactly you as a company try to get benefits from it. And we postpone not because of the privacy reasons, because we haven't seen how exactly at this moment of time of development of our R&D project, AI automation or AI power can like deliver the value to us. And this question is about, yeah, the market is demanding. Every website has an AI on it now. And if you don't have an AI, even don't speak with VC funds or something. But the question is, then you are doing a due diligence of the usage of the AI. How exactly you are benefit from it? How exactly you are making yourself more powerful? And at this point, you definitely need to put some efforts to utilize the AI capabilities. So it's more about how relevant the usage is.
And Mina, a question for you about fostering this culture where you encourage your employees to use AI. And I'm sure that as like a head of BD, you probably encourage your employees or people on your team to use AI. But how do you strike the balance between encouraging them to use ChatGPT, but also ensuring that they do the due diligence, make sure that whenever you ask them the question, they don't just run it through ChatGPT and share it with you, because you can do it yourself. So AI needs to be this assistant and tool the businesses should use, but how do you create that environment of like, yeah, use AI, but make sure that you don't just submit these documents?
Well, it's a good question, to be honest. AI, especially from BD perspective, can help and has helped a lot in an operational perspective, where everything is seamlessly, yeah, we're using it, that word, and easy and very productive, efficient. But at the end of the day, when you're in charge of your own colleagues and everybody else, you need to check their work. And it's simple and straightforward. If you see somebody using 2-3 times in a row without doing their own due diligence of what they actually copy-pasted, then it's a conversation, So at the end of the day, it's all about how you communicate to it, So we are all smart adults who work in the industry, who actually believe in this industry. So it's not as hard as you would think to implement, from my perspective. I'm not sure from IT department and engineering, it could be different, but this is still more of a face-to-face conversation.
By the way, on thinking about AI, I think you should think about data first. So if you're working for a company where if you're using AI, so you're just feeding that, right? That data going to be going for a model. The question is, like, you work with clients, so you're just providing that data, and then what, right? So that becomes a problem. So when you work with clients, you need to let them know, like, look, we use AI, and should be an in-house AI, right? So otherwise, you're just providing that data for free. For ChatGPT, for example, could be a problem. So I see a lot of companies nowadays using ChatGPT, and you're just feeding that data. You don't know where the data going to go for. I think companies should focus on creating AI agents, for example. Notion AI, for example, is actually quite good, because if you have a company, you have SOPs, you can use the AI agent. It's just inside Notion. It's not shared, and it's secure.
And could you just elaborate on this point of having an open conversation with your clients about the AI models they use? Because some of the clients are a bit more skeptical, especially when we talk to traditional companies that have been around for 50, 60, 70 years, and you tell them that you use AI, they're like, why don't you just hire a really good writer? Why the hell are you using AI? So how do you open this conversation, and how do you have that honest conversation with them?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think AI could be used for just set the foundation, right? So instead of you go to Google and try to open like 50 tabs to try to get the overall general idea, then what you could possibly do is go to ChatGPT, have a quick overview, and then you slowly start to work and become more like narrow. So you use AI to go from general to slowly narrow. in our like when we work with clients, we consult, right? So decisions need to be made. We use AI just for the general, but the decisions are made by us, right? So that's our outlook.
And I can give you some examples how we are doing this. So from a couple of different perspectives. From the cybersecurity auditing perspective, AI became just one additional point. Then we are checking things that very hard to check by human, because it's like tiny mathematical issues or tiny stuff with the comparison of 3-5 different moving points in one, and to find out is there a vulnerability or not. It's like number one. Second, then you are trying to compare the promises, the documentation, the numbers with the actual code. You are using AI also as one additional step, not as a final true source, but you get definitely some insights from the AI comparison to move forward and to understand, do you need to put much more attention to these or that details. And the third one, then you are looking for some anomalies in the project, and you are feeding the model with a huge number of, for example, good transactions, and your analysis of all the vulnerabilities and bad transactions that are happened during like last 7 years, comparing them, and after that trying to find out with the model, there you are going to have an alert of the bad transaction, not even understanding yet why exactly you have it. And so it's just an automation good system where what empowers you to go and to find something much deeper.
And I feel like with the few of the points that you made, you're essentially alluding to one of your tools that you have, which is essentially an AI tool that enables you to track whether someone will get hacked based on the existing data. So could you tell me a bit more about it and the utility of it? Does it actually work? Have you seen like this being improved over time?
Yes, so the interesting issue is that we analyze each hack that is happening right now in Web3. We analyze and look, has our model found it or not? I would say that in 95% of the time, we see the very early stage of the potential attack. What are the issues there? That it's not only the AI model. AI model comes as a cherry on the top. Initially, you are building system as the Web2 antiviruses were made. It's some models, it's some patterns, it's all data that you are analyzing during the whole history of the vulnerabilities, the cybersecurity attacks, and so on. After that, you're adding to that all the good stuff that happened. And only at that point, you can actually teach the model to do something. That's why, answering your questions, yes, there is a progress, and it's going to be even better and better.
And Mina, I saw you shaking your head when I asked the question about how do you have these open conversations with your clients, when you're using AI. So could you tell me a bit more about it? But also on your side, do you use AI when you try to onboard a new client and it's comparatively technical? Because that's what I do a lot. So I used to write for Cointelegraph, and whenever I need to interview a project, I'm like, oh my days, I don't understand it. So I just go to ChatGPT and be, can you please explain this to me as I'm 5 years old? So explain it, and then I'll go and read the white paper being like, oh, okay, that all makes sense now. So do you use that trick?
Absolutely, absolutely. But the thing is, to your previous question, compared to the Web2 companies that are already, been existent for 50, 60 years, for me, it's completely different because I only work with Web3 projects, which means we are already in the sphere. So we are already the geeks of IT and high-tech things. So for us, it's not even a conversation. It's normal. If you are smart and efficient, you're going to implement it so you can, fast forward your time. But to be honest, even not for this, as you mentioned, for this, from IT perspective, a very complicated thing, even for such a thing as post a tweet on Twitter, you still need to head check. So it's not like because of AI we will lose the jobs. No, you still need to double check before posting anything, even as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. And question about research to you, Janine, because I know that you guys are an incubator, and I'm sure that you do a lot of due diligence before you incubate a product. But do you use ChatGPT or any other in-house built language model to help you with the evaluation of the product, evaluation of what they do, and whether there is a project market fit? I know that you do the final final call, but do you use AI in the business?
We tend not to a certain degree, but the way that we normally think about that is, okay, is the client has a MVP? If yes, perfect. Is already generating any revenue? Is any demand in the market for that? And then we try to understand if the founder really understands and have a background, a strong background, for example, in AI in this case. If that's the case, then would go for our second step, where we then jump on a call and try to understand if this will be a good fit for us. But in terms of using AI, we tend not to, because we want to preserve in terms of privacy, but we try always to look at, okay, is this a good MVP? Does it have demand? And if that's the case, then we consider onboarding the client.
Nice. And Dennis, I would love to hear your take on whether AI will replace coders in some capacity and whether that will reduce the number of coders in general. I had a conversation with one of my friends, and he was like, oh, just try not to pursue a career there because it might not be the best path within the next, let's say, 10, 15 years. I'd love to hear your take on it, but like also some predictions of like what will happen within the next 5 years, next 10 years, next 15 years.
I believe that there were very, like a lot of speakers who were speaking about how it's going to change in 5-10 years. We see that the number of employees, not only developers, are shrinking right now because of the AI. And in like 5 years, I believe that the 14 years old child with a laptop at his home is going to be as powerful as 20 engineers right now. You have startups in the valley and all over the world. And actually, the conversation here was about also creating an apps just by prompts. It's already a reality. You don't need as much developers for small tasks, and you would not need as much developers for the complicated stuff as well, but you definitely need very smart people and smart developers who can get it to the enterprise level. Because what you can do right now, you can play with different models, you can play with different startups, but all that you are creating is just some very basic stuff. In 5 years, I don't know, sky's the limit. Yeah, so who knows how much jobs are going to be affected. I can tell you that we definitely already now have like -1 copywriter, -1 designer, -1 product manager, just because of the productivity that AI can give to all of us.
Make sure that you keep your BD and partnerships managers because Mina won't be impressed by your decisions. But could you tell me more about how it will impact the BD and partnership side of the business? Because in my understanding, BD is a lot about building these really intimate relationships with people before you even offer them the product. But I'm sure that AI will have impact on your industry as well. So how big do you think the impact will be? And what are the skill sets that BD managers right now should try to hone to be able to stay relevant within the next 5 years?
Well, you have to be always, keep up the trends, but from any, job you have to do that. So for BD, it's a human contact, so for us, we're still safe from that perspective. For me, it's just a lot of automation and, being very efficient with it. So everything else is, I have to get on a call, I have 8 calls per day. I cannot make somebody else do it for me while I'm sleeping. So from that perspective, but in the whole company, how it's being built, our product team, our engineering. So I know for a fact our product team, they're using their version integrated of AI when they're checking, and they're super fast forwarded about it. So, yeah.
And Jeanette, I would love to know what advice would you give to businesses that are planning to implement AI within their business? And could you please focus on some practical advice, whether it will be to just go and research something, or whether that will be to speak to an expert or whatever you think. But could you just give them like a really practical advice that they can go home tonight and then do it, or ideally next week?
Yeah. First, I would say, okay, if you're going to use AI, does it really have a clear reason for using? The second most important, I think, the reality is, can you have actually access to really good data? Because if you don't have good data, then what will happen? Your models would not be good, and the result would not be good, right? And the other thing I see, when a company wants to implement AI, they go big, right? So they ended up spending millions and millions. I think what they should do, in fact, is start small, right? Because an AI engineer actually costs a lot of money. Get access to reliable data also costs money. People nowadays say data is the new oil. So I think companies should start small before even make a big jump.
And then it's the same question for you.
Yeah, I would say that if you are not using an AI in your daily routine, you are losing your competitive advantage, and you are becoming less competitive on the market. AI is just a tool, but the tool that makes you more and more productive. And if you are not becoming more productive, someone definitely does it. And as companies are going to need less and less employees, people, the employees should be very productive using AI. So I don't know the niche where you cannot be more productive because of the AI. I don't know the niche. Everything that we are doing right now can be optimized, and you can get to the next level by utilizing very basic prompts. So think about it and go to the courses and definitely educate yourself.
I mean, it's the same question for you, but I want to change it a little bit.
Yeah, because I want to say Dennis already said everything that I'm thinking. So
no,
nothing to
I was
add.
going to say, how would you use AI to build your own brand? So how would you use it to be a bit more efficient across social media channels? Or how can you use AI to be more efficient when it comes to replying to emails? Is there a role in AI there, or do you think we're still really early?
No, it's already there, and it's already being used,
So how do you use it? Just give me some practical advice of like, what should I do tomorrow?
Well, it's how you prompt your, for example, if we were talking about ChatGPT. By the way, I'm fighting with him on a daily basis, just so you know. I'm not sure if everybody else, but it's true, So when I'm not fighting with him, it's always, no, I don't need this, write up this. So you have to, prompt him a bit better, and then he can do everything. But your question is, how can you start using it from tomorrow? I don't know. I mean, just anything with emails you can actually do even without ChatGPT. You can always have the answers. And you have so many companies who are already doing it and sharing. They're like, yeah, if you do this, you will be faster, For me personally, I am OG kind of, and for me, I just need my $20 a month ChatGPT, and I prompt him like I need to, from my perspective.
Yeah.
For some other things and other businesses, other spheres, probably what other people are offering from their AI services would be way better and proficient than you just using your ChatGPT.
And just a quick follow-up on that, how can you use ChatGPT to create an AI bot that can reply to people on Telegram, or to reply to people on LinkedIn or Twitter? Do you think that there is space for it, or do you think they're hallucinating too much? Because some people would message me on LinkedIn some random messages like, that's definitely AI generated.
You can do it. It's been done already, but I think that just the people, maybe they haven't checked it. Also, working in Web3 space, even though we live in our bubble, and when we go to conferences, I was in Singapore last month, we see 20K people there, and we're like, oh, we are big. No, we're not. We're living in a bubble, and
Honey.
I wish for Web3 to be bigger and expanded. It will happen, but not now. Which would only give you my answer is because we are a small sphere and from all around the world, so nobody has English. Most of people, like myself, I'm from Serbia, we don't have English as our first language, native. So maybe somebody who was sending you those bad messages on LinkedIn also were not good at English language so that they can check it. And this is a valid point. This happens all the time to me also.
Thank you so much for that. I'm just cognizant of the time, and I want to... Do you want to answer the question?
Actually, there is one thing. I used to... Do you guys remember ChatGPTs? So you can even train your own ChatGPTs and become like you, right? So the way that you write, the way that you talk, the way that you respond, and then you can connect with, for example, your Gmail and automate all of those replies. And even, let's say, a normal process of like onboarding a client or follow-up or whatsoever, you can use ChatGPTs to do that. And becomes like a second version of you, and becomes better and better and better. And that's what I would recommend anyone doing.
Absolutely. And you have around a minute to tell me a bit more about yourself. I mean, like, where can people find you to begin with?
Oh.
But also, what do you guys do? Your time to shoot the project. tell the people where can they find you and what you guys do.
Yeah, you guys can find us on trireme.com. If you are a founder and you are at pre-seed or seed stage or about to put your project to market, you can go to trireme.com and submit a form, and we'd be more than happy to support you. In terms of service that we do a 360 support. So from fundraising, go-to-market, TG plan, tokenomics, token utility, we can do it all. And the reason we do that is so it can set like a really strong foundation and make sure that when you go to the market, you do succeed and you have the best tools to succeed.
Nice. Dennis, your time to shine.
Thank you. So as I said, I'm from Haken. Haken is a cybersecurity company. We are providing everything from the smart contract auditing to the ongoing on-chain protection. It's about compliance, it's about security, it's about economic anomalies. And now we are actively supporting companies to go with DORA and MiCA requirements. Supporting them because the regulation is very, very close. If you need help, please get to us, and we're going to have a fruitful conversation. Thank you.
Yes, so at Token.com, we are actually have internal joke how we explain this to especially Web2 users. Imagine that Binance and TikTok had a baby and we were born. So we are an application where you can actually just download it. We have around 400K users already, and most of them were onboarded from Web2 space because it's easy for them. They just, when they download the app, they're just checking it like a TikTok style short videos where they can be introduced to the sphere, also be a bit more, let's say, easier, and they can just easily buy, sell tokens. So we all know that even 15 years later, all the exchanges, you need to be a Web3 user in order to use them. It's complicated, but we are trying to make it very easily and effortless. And you can just simply buy and sell from the video. And we are open and transparent about it. In the video, you can see how many people saw your post and how much of token was bought through it. So
and
we are
you
innovative.
guys didn't, sorry to interrupt, you guys didn't tell us what's the best way for people to get in touch with you. Would that be Telegram or X? Starting probably from Mina, because you just called.
LinkedIn, my name, last name, you cannot miss me on LinkedIn, you know, when you type it, so it's specific.
Yeah, because there is no Telegram, I would say LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think my Telegram is @gr351, but don't quote me on that. Probably would be better to reach out on LinkedIn.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for staying, listening to this panel.
Thank you.